Imagine you're a 9-year-old kid who recently started your journey on stage. Your band has been practicing endlessly for months, and there's this huge crowd of people who gathered there just to come see you. Well, that was me. I told myself over and over that I can't make a single mistake. This has to go perfectly. You can probably imagine that the more I said that, the more nervous I became. So during my singing performance, I froze. I couldn't move, I couldn't sing. I bursted into tears, then ran off stage, leaving the rest of my bandmates behind. I was so embarrassed, it felt like I would never be able to move past it. We've all been there, haven't we? Replaying these moments in our head, wishing things had gone differently, sometimes even before they had occurred. What comes to your mind when you think about embarrassment? Maybe waving back at someone who wasn't waving at you, tripping in public, or being put on the spot. For many, the word embarrassment unlocks a flood of memories, most of which we'd rather forget. Embarrassment is closely linked with the discomfort of humiliation and anxiety. It makes sense because research by Edelman, Hu, and Tsai suggested that embarrassment is basically an emotional response to when we feel like we're not meeting social norms or expectations, which can lead to the fear that others won't view us as highly. This is why those who place a lot of weight on external validation and have a lower self-esteem are more sensitive to embarrassment than others. Have you ever noticed that as a child, you rarely felt embarrassed? You probably didn't even know what the word means, whether you were throwing a tantrum in public or wearing weird costumes. But as you've grown older, you begin to worry about what other people think of you. This change shows how our awareness of and reactions to social expectations evolve over time. In 2013, Somerville's research found that during adolescence, significant changes occur in the brain, especially in the prefrontal cortex, which is crucial for social behavior and managing your emotions. This led them to predict that adolescents have a heightened ability to detect and respond to social cues due to their sensitized brain circuits. Supporting this research, an investigation by Horowitz suggested that teenagers have a heightened self-awareness and self-discrepancy, which makes them more susceptible to embarrassment. This just proves that everyone feels embarrassed. It's a part of being human, yet the fear of embarrassment drives many people to avoid certain situations at all costs. Overcoming embarrassment can be life-changing. It opened up a world of possibilities for me, and I'm confident it can do the same for you, allowing you to authentically express yourself and hopefully set you on a long path of success. By being able to do so, you can embrace the risks and challenges that others might avoid. Had I not overcome my fear of embarrassment, I wouldn't be standing before you all today. It is a timeless skill for people of all ages, showing us that overcoming embarrassment and facing the fear of it can redefine our lives at any stage. With this being said, how do we overcome embarrassment? Well, first, we must learn how to cope with past embarrassing moments. Here are the key lessons that have helped me navigate through those tough feelings. After that day, I eventually realized that no one can make me feel embarrassed unless I give them that power. And I learned to forgive myself. I accepted that nothing could change what had happened, and I focused on the present. What can I do now to move forward? So instead of avoiding the stage for fear of being embarrassed again, I jumped at the next opportunity to perform in order to learn and further improve my skill. Another strategy that has consistently helped me is talking it over with a friend. It always helps me see the situation from a different perspective, and just hearing a friend say, honestly, it's not as bad as you think, immediately gives me the reassurance that I need. Second, you must run headfirst into embarrassment. What this means is that everyone here has the ability to overcome this painful emotion and develop what I like to call an immunity to embarrassment. Achieving this doesn't come from avoiding these feelings, but rather from confronting them directly. Over the next few years, I kept making mistakes on stage and felt incredibly embarrassed each time. There was one time where I sang completely off key that my teacher rushed onto the stage in an attempt to salvage the rest of the song. I've experienced high notes leading to voice cracks, forgetting the lyrics, starting at the wrong time, and many other mishaps, just to name a few. But the more I performed and messed up, the more I realized that the consequences weren't as daunting as I thought. I've embarrassed myself so many times that these moments began to lose their sting. I don't feel anything anymore. Instead, they taught me about resilience, showing me, and perhaps all of us, that what we fear doesn't always have to hold us back. It can push us forward and help us grow. Show of hands, please. How many of you have played the guitar? You remember those calluses on your fingers, right? Well, I like to think of them as a metaphor for developing an immunity. When you start learning the guitar, your fingers tend to hurt, and they begin to form these calluses. This process might be uncomfortable or even painful at first. But the more you play, the tougher your fingers become, which actually protects you and makes playing less painful over time. In the same way, the more you expose yourself to these potentially uncomfortable scenarios, the less affected you become. These social calluses can eventually lead to reduced sensitivity, and with each exposure, you learn that the pain lessens. This counterintuitive approach is similar to exposure therapy, used in psychological practices, where repeated exposure to the source of fear diminishes its impact over time. Stephen Hoffman, a clinical psychologist, says that this seemingly ridiculous approach seems to work at about 70% of cases at his clinic when used as a part of cognitive behavioral therapy. So how do we start running headfirst into embarrassment? Begin with small challenges that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Speak up in meetings, share your ideas, ask questions, or reach out to new people. Embarrassment is only a temporary state, and the risk of experiencing it is often worth the potential rewards. Think of a world where you're guaranteed to never feel embarrassed. What would you do differently? Perhaps you'd raise your hand more in class, ask someone out on a date, or audition for every play without the fear of judgment or failure. If I could reach back to my younger self standing frozen on that stage, I'll tell her that this is just the beginning. Every tear you shed, every mistake you make, this overwhelming feeling seems like something you want to run away from. But believe me, it's this very feeling that will make you unstoppable. So run headfirst into embarrassment, not as a challenge to be feared, but as an opportunity to be seized. Thank you.